The member for Rankin.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Revenue. Last night, for the first time in the history of Federation, an opposition second reading amendment passed the House on a bill the minister was responsible for and while the minister was in the chamber. Was that because the minister agrees the government has failed to close tax loopholes, or is it because the minister is so incompetent that she pays no attention when revenue decisions are being made?
Leader of the House. I haven't called the minister yet. The Leader of the House will cease interjecting. Member for Scullin will cease interjecting. The Minister for Revenue and Financial Services.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. And I'd like to thank Wayne Swan's former Chief of Staff
the
for that
Minister
question.
will refer to members by their correct titles.
I'd like to thank the member for his question.
The Minister will resume her seat. Minister for Immigration will cease interjecting. The member for Chifley just can't stop interjecting, so he can go and do it in his office under 94A. The level of interject will leave immediately. The level of interjections is far too high. The Minister has the call.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I understand why the member opposite is very sensitive on this point, because it is very embarrassing. But let me say, what is even more embarrassing is the depth that the Labor Party has sunk to, the adolescent games that they continue to play in this parliament that have no impact on the legislation, by the way, that has passed through not only the House but the Senate only today. Legislation that helps us to combat multinational tax avoidance through the Australia-Germany tax treaty legislation. In fact, we are very, very proud on this side of the House of our record on combating multinational tax avoidance. They had 6 years over there to do something about this, 6 years, but they sat on their hands. It takes a coalition government to actually do something about it. Only last year we passed the Multinational Anti-Avoidance Law. The Multinational Anti-Avoidance Law, which is the most significant reform that has been brought into this parliament for decades to stop multinationals profit shifting offshore. It provides increased penalties to the Australian Taxation Office, it gives them increased powers, and it means that Australians can have confidence in our Australian tax system. But did we receive help from those opposite? Did they talk the talk and walk the walk? No. No, every single one of them over there voted against these important reforms. At the same time, we have increased the resources of the Australian Taxation Office. We have done that by increasing the international division of the ATO. It is much larger than it was under Labor. We have also established the Tax Avoidance Task Force in this year's budget, which will raise $3.7 billion over the forward estimates period. We have introduced country-by-country reporting, which means that our Australian Taxation Office will know the tax that is paid by these multinational companies in every country in which they operate, and they will be able to ensure that they can raise tax assessments here in Australia. We have also published tax information for tax transparency. We have passed legislation to limit the scope for multinationals to claim excessive debt deductions, and we are improving the integrity of the GST regime as well. These are only some of the elements that on our side of the House we have passed.
The Minister's time has expired. I call the